In a forgotten African village surrounded by whispering forests and restless winds, there is a legend the elders never tell aloud. They say that under the silver light of the full moon, when the river is silent and even the crickets refuse to sing, a woman in a crimson wedding gown walks between the trees, searching. She is not alive. She is not entirely dead. She is waiting. Her name was Amara, the most beautiful bride the village had ever seen. On her wedding night, she wore a necklace made of moonstone and bone, said to protect a woman's heart from betrayal. But as dawn rose, Amara was found lifeless, her body cold, her eyes open, and the necklace glowing faintly against her throat. They buried her by the river, hoping her spirit would rest. But it never did. Every few years, the necklace reappears, gleaming in the marketplace, found in the dirt, or hanging from a stranger's neck. And each time someone dares to wear it, something terrible follows. Some say they hear soft laughter in the dark. Some say they wake up to a shadow standing by their bedside. Others are never seen again. It is a story whispered only when the moon is full. About a bride who could not forgive, a groom who could not forget, and a necklace that binds the living to the dead. Tonight you will hear her story, the story of Amara, and the cursed necklace of the dead bride. Long before the whispers began, there was a village called Ombani, hidden deep within the green belly of the African forest. The people of Ombani lived simple lives. They fished in the wide, glistening river, danced around firelight during the harvest, and trusted the spirits that guarded their land. But every happiness has its shadow. Amara was the daughter of Namina, the village's most respected herbalist, a woman said to speak to the river spirits themselves. Amara was beautiful, yes, but not in the ordinary way. Her eyes held a strange calm, as though she could see what others could not. The elders often said she was blessed by the ancestors, though some whispered marked. When Amara turned 20, a wealthy trader named Kato came to Ombani. He was charming, bold, and ambitious, a man who carried gold dust in his pockets and secrets in his smile. He asked for Amara's hand, claiming he had dreamt of her long before he met her. Mama Naya hesitated. She told him, "A dream can be a blessing, or a warning. Which one is yours, Kato?" But Kato only laughed and promised to love Amara until the end of his days. The wedding was to be the grandest Ombani had ever seen. The entire village gathered near the riverbanks, where torches burned and drums thundered beneath the stars. The women painted Amara's arms with white tribal spirals, symbols of unity and protection. The old griot sang of love's eternal bond. Then Mama Naya brought forth the necklace, a string of white bones and shimmering moonstones, passed down by generations of river priestesses. She placed it gently around her daughter's neck and whispered, "This will guard your heart, my child. But never remove it, for if it leaves your skin, so will your soul's peace." For a moment the river seemed to sigh, as though it had heard the promise. That night, as Amara and Kato exchanged vows, a sudden gust of wind blew through the ceremony. The torches flickered violently, the drums faltered, and one of the moonstones on Amara's necklace cracked with a faint hiss. A few guests gasped. Mama Naya's eyes darkened. But the celebration continued. Laughter returned, wine flowed, and songs of love filled the air once again. No one noticed that Kato's reflection in the river was smiling even when he was not. The night ended with dance and blessings, but in the silence that followed, when the last drumbeat faded, the forest felt different. Watching, listening. Amara had entered her new life as a bride. But somewhere in the dark, something old had awakened. For weeks after the wedding, the people of Ombani spoke of nothing but Amara and Kato. Their laughter filled the air like the scent of mango blossoms, and even the elders who had doubted Kato began to smile again. But Mama Naya did not smile. She often sat outside her hut at night, staring toward the river. The same river that had given her dreams now gave her silence. And silence, in Ombani, was never a good sign. Amara noticed it too. Each night when the wind rustled the trees, it carried faint murmurs that sounded like distant voices, soft, echoing, impossible to understand. At first, she told herself it was the sound of the river. But one night, when the moon was full and pale as milk, she heard the whisper call her name. Amara! Her body went cold. The voice came not from the forest, but from beneath her window. She stepped outside, clutching a lantern. The air smelled of damp soil and something faintly metallic like blood. The ground was wet, though it hadn't rained for days. She turned toward the river. There, under the moonlight, she saw a woman standing waist-deep in the water, her skin pale, her hair floating like seaweed. And around her neck gleamed a necklace of white bones and moonstones, just like Amara's. "Who are you?" Amara whispered, but when she blinked, the woman was gone. The next morning she said nothing to Kato. He had become distant since the wedding, leaving at dawn, returning after sunset, his hands smelling of iron and smoke. He said he was expanding his trading routes, but Amara noticed the fear in his eyes whenever he saw her wearing the necklace. Once, he even reached out to touch it and pulled his hand back sharply, as if burned. "That thing, it doesn't belong to you," he muttered. Amara frowned. "It was my mother's gift." "Why would you say that?" "Because," Kato said under his breath, "no living woman should wear what belongs to the dead." Before she could ask what he meant, he stormed out. That night, Amara dreamed of the river again. Only this time, she saw women's faces swirling beneath the water. Their eyes were hollow, their mouths whispering in unison. When she woke, her pillow was damp. The window was wide open, and one of the moonstones on her necklace was missing. Strange things began happening in Ambani. Children claimed to see shadows moving against the riverbank, even when no one was there. Fishermen found their nets torn open, and sometimes strands of long black hair tangled within. Every night, dogs barked toward the forest, their eyes glowing white in the torchlight. Mama Naya came to visit Amara one evening. The moment she stepped into the house, she froze. "The air here feels heavy," she said softly. Amara hugged her mother and confessed everything: the whispers, the woman in the water, Kato's strange behavior. Mama Naya listened in silence, then said, "The necklace I gave you was meant to protect you. But something ancient may have awoken, something connected to the river brides." Amara's eyes widened. "River brides?" "Long ago," Mama Naya explained, "when a woman died too soon, before bearing children or finishing her vows, her spirit was said to wander near the water. The river took her as its bride, binding her soul in eternal waiting. Those who disturb their rest bring the river's anger upon themselves." Amara trembled. "Are you saying the necklace belonged to one of them?" Mama Naya hesitated. "It once did. But it was cleansed through sacred ritual. Unless..." She stopped mid-sentence, staring at Amara's chest. "Where is the missing stone?" Amara looked down. One of the moonstones was indeed gone. Mama Naya's face turned pale. Mama Naya's face turned pale. "Then it has begun." From that night on, Ambani changed. The once bright village became blanketed in mist. Even at noon, birds stopped singing. The river, once calm, began to churn as if something restless moved beneath its surface. Kato grew worse. He rarely slept, muttering names in his dreams, women's names Amara had never heard before. He became jumpy, easily angered, his skin clammy, his eyes bloodshot. One evening, she found him burning something behind their hut: women's ornaments, strange trinkets made of shells and beads. "Kato, what are you doing?" "Cleansing what's left of them," he said coldly. "Of who?" "The ones who came before you." The words sank in like stones. Amara's breath caught. "You mean, your other wives?" Kato's face twisted. He turned, his voice trembling with something close to madness. "They wouldn't leave me. Even after death, they whisper from the river. They want me back. They want what's theirs." He looked at her necklace, eyes filled with terror. "And now you wear her necklace." Amara stumbled back. The woman she saw that night, the pale figure with floating hair, she wasn't just a spirit. She was one of Cato's dead brides. That night, as thunder rolled over the village, Amara felt a pull, a strange tug inside her chest. Her heart pounded in rhythm with the river's waves. The necklace felt heavy, almost alive, pressing against her throat. She could hear them again, the whispers louder now, echoing through her skull. "Come back to us, bride of the living thief." She tried to cover her ears, but the voice was inside her. She staggered outside into the rain, her white dress clinging to her body, lightning flashing above the trees. The river glowed, faint blue light rippling across its surface. And from within, 3 ghostly women emerged, their faces serene and hollow. Each wore a broken version of the same necklace. Amara froze. "What do you want from me?" The tallest spirit lifted her hand. "Return what he stole, or join us beneath the water." Before Amara could respond, the necklace on her neck grew white-hot, searing her skin. She screamed and tore at it, but it wouldn't come off. The moonstones pulsed, and the spirits vanished. She collapsed in the mud, gasping. When she looked up, Cato was standing at the edge of the river, watching. His expression was unreadable, almost calm. "You can't run from them," he said quietly. "You wear her promise now." "Whose?" she cried. "Namina's. My first bride." The next morning Mama Naya arrived, drenched and breathless. "Amara, you must come with me now. The river's spirits are demanding justice. The necklace is binding you to their curse." She held a clay bowl filled with white ash and herbs. "We must perform the severance ritual before nightfall. If not, you'll be claimed." But before they could begin, Cato appeared at the doorway, eyes wild. "No rituals. The river won't stop until it takes what's owed." Mama Naya glared at him. "You brought this upon yourself, Cato. You deceived the dead, and now you doom the living." "I loved them," he shouted. "But love doesn't die, it just waits." He lunged toward Amara, trying to grab the necklace, but the moment his hand touched it, a blinding light burst from the stones. Cato was thrown back against the wall, unconscious. Amara sobbed, "Mother, please, save me." Mama Naya drew a circle on the ground with white ash, chanting words older than the village itself. The necklace began to vibrate, humming with energy. But outside, the river roared louder and louder, as if furious. The door burst open. Wind howled inside. The torches went out. And from the darkness beyond, a voice whispered, not gentle, not human. The bride must return to her vow. Amara screamed as the necklace lifted from her neck and floated in midair. The moonstones glowed blue. The air turned freezing cold. And deep beneath the thunder, the river laughed. The storm did not end that night. Deepened. Thunder rolled like war drums across the sky, and lightning clawed through the forest, turning the village of Ombani into a sea of trembling shadows. Inside Amara's hut, the circle of white ash Mama Naya had drawn was almost erased by the wind. The old woman's chants grew hoarse, her trembling hands clutching the necklace that still hovered in the air. Its moonstones burned like fragments of the moon itself. "Hold the circle," Mama Naya cried over the wind. "Do not step outside, child." But Amara could barely hear her. Her body shook violently, her heart pounding like a drum. The air felt thick, heavy, as though something vast and ancient pressed down from the heavens. The necklace spun faster, glowing brighter. Then a voice spoke from within the light. "He promised me forever." Amara froze. The voice was soft, familiar. It was the same tone she'd heard in her dreams, whispering from the river. "Who are you?" she cried out. "The first bride," the voice answered. "The one he buried beneath lies and shallow earth." The air cracked. The hut split open, its roof torn away by invisible hands. Rain poured in, soaking the floor. The necklace dropped to the ground, shattering one of its stones. And from that shattered light, a shape began to rise. She was beautiful and terrible all at once. Her skin glistened with water, her hair trailing like black smoke. Around her neck hung the same necklace, But the bones were no longer bleached white. They were red, fresh, glistening with blood. The spirit looked directly at Cato, who had regained consciousness and now knelt in shock. "You made vows at the river's edge," she whispered. "And you broke them with mortal greed." Cato's lips trembled. "Namina buried you. I gave you rest." Her eyes flashed white. "You gave me chains." Every flame in the hut extinguished at once. The air filled with the sound of rushing water, though the river was miles away. Outside, villagers screamed as torrents of mud and rain tore through the paths. The river had risen from its bed. Mama Naya fell to her knees, praying. Amara stood frozen, caught between terror and disbelief. "Why me?" she whispered. "Why do you come for me?" The spirit turned her gaze toward Amara. "Because you wear what was mine. Because he gave my soul as a gift to his next bride." Amara's hand flew to her throat, to the necklace. The realization hit her like lightning. The necklace had not been a blessing. It was a binding, a piece of the first bride's spirit, trapped and transferred. "You're bound to me now," Namina hissed. "Your heart beats where mine once did. And his sin breathes through you." Cato's face contorted in guilt. He crawled toward the spirit, rainwater running down his cheeks like tears. "Forgive me, Namina. I couldn't let you go. The river took you, but I needed you still. I tried to bind your soul, to keep a part of you close. I thought if another wore your necklace, your spirit would stay alive in love." Namina's voice grew sharp, echoing from every wall. "Love. You chained me to the living. You cursed the innocent. You turned me into hunger." The ground beneath them trembled. Cracks split the earth. Water gushed upward, flooding the hut. Mama Naya screamed, clutching Amara's arm. "We must leave. The river has come for him." But Amara couldn't move. Her feet were rooted to the ground. The necklace glowed again, burning against her chest. Her reflection shimmered in the water now covering the floor. But it wasn't her own. It was Namina's. And the reflection smiled. Amara gasped. The necklace's stones shattered completely, and a cold wind burst through her chest. She arched backward, eyes turning pure white. The spirit entered her like a wave, and when she opened her mouth, it wasn't her voice that spoke. "You will feel what I felt, thief of my breath." Mama Naya shouted sacred words, throwing white ash at Amara's feet, but it turned to steam before touching her skin. "Namina, release her." Amara's body moved with jerky, unnatural grace, her hair floating in unseen water. Her voice shifted between hers and the spirit's, two tones clashing in pain. "He lied to both of us, and now we are one." Cato stumbled backward. "Amara, please, fight her." But Amara's lips curled into a smile that wasn't hers. "You don't get to beg, my love. You get to drown." With a deafening roar, water burst through the hut walls, as if the river itself had come alive. The ground split open beneath Cato's feet, dragging him into the flood. He screamed as hands, ghostly feminine hands, reached from the water and pulled him down. "Namina. No. Forever means forever," her voice replied. The hut collapsed. Water swept through the village, carrying torches, clay pots, and screams into the night. The people of Ambani fell to their knees, praying as the river's roar consumed everything. Only Mama Naya remained standing, drenched and trembling at the edge of the flood. Through the mist, she saw Amara, or what was left of her, standing waist-deep in the water. The necklace now glowed faintly around her throat, whole again, its stones unbroken. "Amara," Mama Naya called. "Come back, child. You can still break the bond." But when the woman turned, Mama Naya's heart broke. Her daughter's eyes were no longer her own. They glowed a soft blue. Calm, cold, eternal. "Mama," the voice said, two tones blended as one. "Don't mourn. The river keeps what it's owed." Lightning struck the riverbank, and the world went white. When the light faded, the water was calm. The necklace floated briefly, then sank beneath the surface. By dawn the storm was gone. The villagers searched the riverbank but found nothing. No body, no necklace, no trace of Amara or Cato. The only sign was a single footprint in the mud, half washed away by the tide. Mama Naya sat by the shore, silent. Behind her, the people whispered that the river had taken its bride once more. As the sun rose, the water shimmered like polished glass, peaceful, deceitful. And deep beneath it, faint laughter echoed, the sound of two voices blending in eternity. From that day, no one in Ombani spoke of Cato or Amara aloud. The elders forbade anyone from marrying near the river. And if a necklace ever washed ashore, it was left untouched, returned to the current with whispered prayers. They said the river had learned hunger, and hunger once fed never sleeps. The story spread across villages. Do not take what was promised to the spirits, for even love, when stolen, must be repaid in blood. And so, whenever the moon shone full and the river glimmered blue, mothers warned their daughters. Never wear what isn't yours. Never love what hides its past. And if you hear whispers beneath the water, never answer back. Years passed. The village of Ombani changed. Children who once feared the river grew into adults who respected it, but never trusted it. No one built homes near its edge anymore. No songs were sung there. When someone passed by, they kept their eyes down, pretending not to notice the faint ripples that always appeared when the moon was full, as if something beneath was watching. Mama Naya grew old, her hair turning silver like river foam. But every dusk, she returned to that same spot on the bank, carrying a single candle. She would set it on the water's surface and whisper, "For my daughter and the bride before her." The villagers said she had gone mad, that she still talked to the spirits. But some nights, those who followed her at a distance swore they saw the candle float upstream, against the current, glowing brighter than fire should. And sometimes, only sometimes, they heard a woman's laughter mingling with the sound of the water. Decades later, travelers passing through Ombani would hear the story, told in hushed tones around fires. Once, a man tried to bind love with a necklace made of bones. But the dead do not forgive. The river took what was hers, and she took what was his. Some say on moonlit nights, if you walk too close to the water, you'll see a faint figure of a woman standing midstream, her wedding cloth drifting around her like mist, her face half Amara, half Namina, and around her neck, the same glowing necklace. She doesn't speak. She only watches. But if you look too long, you'll feel something cold brush your wrist, as though she's testing if your pulse still beats. Those who feel that touch never stay near rivers again. On the night of the old woman's passing, the moon was brighter than it had been in years. The villagers found her chair empty by the water's edge, her candle still burning beside it. The footprints leading into the river were hers, and they ended halfway across, fading into the mist. The next morning the river was calm. But in the reeds where she used to sit, someone found something. A small white stone, smooth and polished, carved with a faint image of a necklace. No one touched it. They buried it beside the shrine instead, leaving flowers and coins as offerings. From that day on, they said, no storm ever struck Ombani again. And so, the necklace of the dead bride became a warning told across generations. A story of love turned to obsession, and devotion turned to curse. Teaches what many forget. You cannot bind love with fear. You cannot steal peace from the dead. And if you wear the sorrow of another, it will one day wear you back. For every promise broken under the moon, for every secret buried beneath the waves, the river remembers. And when it whispers the names of those who thought they were safe. The river sleeps now, but not forever. When the moon glows white and the wind carries the scent of rain, listen closely, and you may still hear her laughter beneath the water. The necklace remains, waiting for another bride to claim it. In Ombani, love never dies. It only waits to be remembered.